Alright guys, welcome back to American Heritage Garage. In today's video, we're going to sidestep away from what we've been doing with the brakes and the body mounts and the floors and the engine, and we're going to talk about one specific thing that's debated hotly on the internet, and we're going to see if we can do it together, and that is the heater core replacement on a 67 through 69 Firebird or Camaro. The heater core in this, the hose fittings are all bashed up. The customer wants this vehicle to have heat, naturally. And so we said, sure, let's knock it out. So we're going to take a step over here. We'll start on the inside, show you what we got going on. Then we'll step out to underneath the firewall, and we'll go from there. Stay tuned. I almost completely forgot to tell you. This will make sense in a second, but I already started going. So I'm coming back to tell you this now. Some tools you'll need. 7/16 socket, shallow, deep, whatever, for the heater box nuts on the outside in the firewall. Probably a 7/16 wrench or gear wrench if you have one. That will help make your life a little easier. Phillips head screwdriver to remove the glove box stuff, and then a 1/4 inch socket to remove the little clips that hold the heater controls on. Other than that, patience, maybe some sort of tool for prying, but you don't need a lot for this. So let's get to it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get up under the dash, talk about a couple things. Now, as I always do, I got a little bit of a head start just to kind of see what I was looking at. So what we did is we removed the actual cardboard glove box compartment, and we removed the glove box door. Pretty simple. It is 3 screws on the bottom, screw or 2 on the side, and a couple screws on the top. Okay, so what that exposes to us is the heater box. Okay, so as we can see, if we get down here and look, which might be a little bit of a hard angle, you'll see the end of the studs. Okay, there should be 3 on the bottom, if I'm not mistaken, and 2 on the top. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. One thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove your heater controls. Okay, pretty simple. Little screw here. We'll slip that off. Just keep track of where it goes. At some point, it looks like somebody had a radio of some sort in here, maybe, so that we don't have to worry about. That's not connected to anything. And then it looks like back in here, there's another heater control that's going to need to be popped up, and a little screw. So we're going to step to the outside, and we're going to look at it from the engine compartment looking this way. You will notice there's some insulation. You might want to, pick and pry some of that out of the way so you can kind of get an idea of what you're looking at. Right where, kind of where my finger is. I don't know if you can see that waggling back there, but you can see the actual end of a stud, or the back side of the stud. So that's one of the studs that goes through the firewall. Another one back there. Let's go out and check it out from the engine compartment. All right, so we are crouching in the engine compartment. Benefit for me in this case, the engine is not in the vehicle, neither the trans. Okay, so here are our hose fittings. In this case, I've seen other types. The only thing I know, I've seen them where they're over here, and I've also seen them where they're kind of centered onto the heater box. The only thing I know about this car originally, based on the VIN, is that it was a V8 car. Okay, right now it has a 400 in it. I do not believe that's the original engine, but you know as well as I do, with these old cars, half the time there's only so much information out there. So that being said, this is what it is. Okay, so what you're going to see here is you're going to see 1, 2, and then that's the only one there. Okay, now here we're up in our fender well. You have your blower motor up in there, so customer said the blower motor works, so that's a big fingers crossed kind of thing. And now we're going to tuck down underneath, okay, and we're going to find the other studs. There's one, there's another, kind of some stuff around it, and there's one on the corner right here. Sorry if I got a little crazy with the camera. So we have 1, 2, and then 3 back here, 4 and 5. So we're going to start by removing those and see where that gets us. At that point, from my knowledge, we should be able to go ahead and remove some stuff from the inside. Another thing I will note, this is a non-AC car, no air conditioning, so only heat, so just keep that in mind. Little hint, if you're crawling in the engine compartment like I am, have all your tools readily accessible, because it's a pain climbing in and out of these things. So I am going to see if I can set the camera up, or just take these off, and then we'll touch base in a minute. So the nuts you will be removing are these little sheet metal nuts. Tinnerman nuts would be a name for them. This is the farthest one up and in. I will show you where that actually lives. Okay, if I can squat myself down in here. Okay, so if you can see, it's got the your little holder for the wire that goes to the blower motor. So that one is pretty close to the inner fender well. Okay, from there, this looks like it's pretty much no problem. So let's see if I can set you up, and I'll hit these the rest of the way. Okay, so that's not going to happen. I just don't have any room to set the camera up. Let me knock these out. I'm just going to use a DeWalt 1/4" impact, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we have all of our Tinnerman nuts, all 5 nuts removed. What I will tell you is, I mean, this separated as soon as I removed. Okay, as soon as I removed all the nuts, this went and separated. There is most likely, there should be, some sort of gasketing, okay, all the way around on the outside and on the inside. If you want to do that, I would probably suggest that now would be a good time. In this case, there is a leak somewhere in this car, where it's catching water on the inside from somewhere, and it's not coolant because those weren't hooked up. So let's go around and check it out on the inside of the car. Okay, so we are inside the car. I'm going to do a preliminary check to see if we got anything loose going on. Okay, I'm seeing if this might be some of the duct work. Not sure if that's going to need to come down. I just want to see. Okay, we get some movement here. So remember, the studs come from inside and go out, so you do want to be a little bit careful as you're working around here not to pull on those studs or damage them in any way. Of course, we have some kind of insulation here. Okay, you can see that all along the bottom. There's going to be a lot of that up through this car. So at this point, slow and smooth is going to win the race for you. I'm looking right here and I'm seeing a stud that well, no, we did get that one. That would be the one that's right at the fender well, 1, 2, and 3. There's nothing else up there from what I can see, so I don't think I missed anything. Nope. So we have everything removed that we need to. So now it's simply, can we get it out the rest of the way, you know, without creating any sort of major issues for ourselves here. I do not expect this to come out, you know, just pull right out. This thing's been basically glued in the car for who knows how long, probably its whole life. So we'll kind of pull and pry on this a little. I kind of got to get both hands in here. But yeah, we definitely have some movement. So hang tight. Let me see what we got going on here. I don't want to elbow the camera or punch the camera here so you guys can see. If I can get it a little bit loose, we'll come back online and work through getting it the rest of the way out of the car. Real quick, guys, we almost got it out. Couple things on the driver's side. The stupid aftermarket gauge cluster is in the way. You will notice, at least on this car, I don't know if some cars are different, the heater box comes up underneath, almost, I mean, up to the right side of the steering wheel. Okay, up under the dash, you will have the ductwork. Okay, you will have a pencil piece. There is another cable that comes in here, so be mindful of that. Make sure and remove that. I can't even get up there to show you. It's a little bit of a contortionist act. So we're almost there. Let me keep going and I'll explain how we got it that far. We are up and out and on the bench. This thing's nasty. All right. We got lots of junk, damp, you know, decomposed leaves, so on and so forth. Let's see if we can get this piece off our little insulator without it tearing apart. Not one-handed, at least. I just want to make sure if there's something. Okay, you will see back slightly behind that there's a retainer, so before you go yanking on this thing, it is mounted in here. Yeah, we got some buddies living up in there. So once we get this out, we'll chat a little more about it. I do want to show you, of course, if we are looking at it from the firewall, here's our 2 upper studs, and then here is our 3 lower studs. That's it. All this is inside the car. Okay, here's one door right there, another door there, and then another door right here. Kind of frozen up. We'll fix all that up. So we're going to get to work on this. You have your blower motor resistor up here on top of the box. This would be under the dash. Probably wouldn't kill you to change it. Not going to cost you a lot. So this is where we're at right now. Good stopping point for the night. And we'll get back to it tomorrow. Get everything cleaned up. Get the new heater core in, locked in, and then we will put this thing back together. I will tell you how I ended up getting this out. I had more problem on the bottom than I did on the top. So I was able to kind of, from the firewall side, just gently pry against the outer cover and kind of break the contact from the studs. Then from the inside, I was able to create enough space, and I have like a, let's see if I can find it here. I have an extra, I thought I had 2. I have a claw tool like this. I was able to get up in and kind of twist and turn and get a little bit of space, being very careful not to bend or degrade the sheet metal, especially being that it's so rusty. So I just worked it slow, a lot of patience, but, you know, kind of pulled down from the top, pulled out from the bottom. I was able to reach my hand up here and pull out this way a little until I was able to actually grip my fingers underneath from the inside on the top and bottom and kind of pull it out. So that's where we're at, guys. Let's get everything cleaned up and we'll come back tomorrow. Before we officially close out for the night and clean everything up, I did want to show you, I missed that. So that must have fell out when I pulled that out and I kind of turned around. I will show you, here's what we're looking at up underneath here. Okay, so as far as any sort of specific gasket, which I have heard there was, I'm not seeing anything specific. However, I am seeing this insulation pad that runs the full length of the dash up under the, I should say the full length of the firewall under the dash. My thoughts and assumptions right off the bat would be this might be a bit of a cluster trying to replace this. So I'm going to do a little thinking and think if there's any type of sealant I want to put in here or anything of that. I don't know. I don't think a bead of RTV is a great idea. And as far as getting the whole outer box out, I would almost like to. But I have a tendency to wonder if that is where my leak is coming from. Maybe up here. I'm not sure. We'll kind of look into that, but I just wanted to show you guys that. So we'll get all this cleaned out. This does feel like, and it looks like, it's got some water damage to it. I'm not sure. I'm going to look a little more into this. I think this is kind of closer to how that should look, and it looks more matty. You know, it's a carpet pad essentially. So we'll kind of see where we're going from there. But anyway, we'll get back to it tomorrow, guys. Alright guys, the heater box is all cleaned up. The new heater core is installed. I used a little bit of graphite lube, cleaned up all the door mechanisms, so those will operate smoothly. So a couple things here I'm going to show you. I went to quarter 20 tap, and I cleaned up all the threads just to make sure we were good. And then instead of getting the gasket kit, I'm going to go out on a limb. This is just some standard weather stripping from your hardware store, and I just kind of made it work. and I think that will work just fine. Again, this application is not a restoration. It is a repair, and we are making it functional, so I'm not too worried about that. What I'm gonna do out here, I cleaned all this up. I'm gonna pry this back as far as I can. Remember, it's still bolted up back up underneath the fender well. If we were doing a full restoration, obviously all this stuff would be apart. We would clean this up. I would put all of the proper gasketing back in here. In this case, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to pry this back a little, and I'm just going to take some black silicone and just run a light bead down in between the firewall and the heater box out here, and that will be sufficient. Also, I'm going to use some regular 1/4-20 nuts and lock washers as opposed to the Tinnerman nuts, the originals. We will keep those just to have in case this ever comes back for a full restoration, or if the customer does choose to do that in the future. I'm pretty confident these are readily available. So what I'm going to do at this point, guys, is I'm going to muscle this thing back up in the car, and we will come back once we get it somewhat inside here and kind of chat where we're going to go from there. So we got it all finished up. It really wasn't too bad. I'll show you a little bit here on the outside. I did go ahead, as I said, and replaced the Tinnerman nuts with regular 1/4-inch nuts. Did a nice bead of caulk, silicone, whatever. Kind of pried this back, squeeze that silicone all the way around, squeeze it in tight. In this case, again, not being a full restoration, I'm pretty happy with it. It's going to seal up nice. No chance of leaking as far as I'm concerned. We'll go check out the inside. I mean, you guys already saw it, but hey, I'll walk you through kind of how I got the glove box and everything back in, but we can tuck up under here. So kind of a trick was getting, I didn't take out the old matting in here, so a little bit of the trick was getting all the studs to kind of go through, line up. Once I got it all kind of lined up, I kind of pushed it, being very careful not to damage any of the threads on the studs, and then I took a 2x4 and I kind of got it wedged in here to help hold. Actually, I wedged it off of the little screws up there to kind of help hold it up in place so the studs were sticking through far enough. It was a bit of a juggling act, but overall it really wasn't too bad. So I mean, I don't have any other things of note. It was pretty straightforward. Should work pretty well. My fingers are crossed that the blower motor and everything works as told. So I guess we'll see when the time comes. All right, guys, that wraps it up. Overall, my assessment of this job is like a level 2. Some pretty basic hand tools, a little bit of contortionism, and you can get in there and complete the job without an issue. I will make a point to say that if the engine is still in the car, it will be more difficult and you will have to contort a little more. I was able to crawl in the engine compartment and be able to kind of get to everything head on. That did make it a little bit easier in my case. So if you are going to replace the heater core, if at any time you have the engine out, that's the time to do it. But it can be done, okay? 5 nuts, and then mainly you're dealing from the inside the rest of the way. So, hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, guys. I'm hoping to get more videos out. It's been a long time. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing. If you have questions, comments, concerns, please put them out to me, and I do the best I can to respond to all that. So thanks, guys. Until next time, we'll see you out here at American Heritage Garage.